G'day guys, welcome back to Frostbite's G.I. Joe Repro. Now today we're going to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart, and that is the artwork of G.I. Joe. Back in the 80s, we were just sort of, we had this beautiful artwork unleashed upon us. And it was just so amazing. It used to like drive our imaginations. Like when I think of G.I. Joe and the toys back in the 80s, I don't think I would have been so fascinated with them if I didn't have that beautiful artwork driving behind it. It's just such an essential component of our childhood. Now, I've done a video before, you may have seen it. It's where we talked about the box art that came out in the 80s. And, you know, there was no real problem with that. It was just they were marketing their stuff. It's just how they decided to put characters in places that they probably shouldn't have been. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. Even if you have seen it, go check it out again. It's been a little while, so it'd be nice to recap on that. But today we're going to talk about a different kind of artwork. And that is some books that were released in Australia in the 80s. Now, up until recently, I didn't actually know these things existed. I bought them from an online Facebook auction. Big shout out to Brian Bravington. He's, you know, one of our Facebook sellers. And he popped these sticker books up that were made by Golden Press here in Australia. And I thought, man, you know, I really like this extra Joe stuff that come out in our childhood. I'm going to grab them. And I ended up winning them in the auction. Now, when I got them back and I did the mail call for my channel members, I went through each of the pages and I was just amazed at how bad this art was. Now, today we're going to go through each of the characters that appeared in these Golden Press books. I'm not addressing the artist at all or the people responsible. We're just going to look at the art. So strap in, let's go take a look at some characters. But before we take a look at each of the characters, I just want to declare some things. Now, back in the 80s, Australia had its own way of doing things, even when it came to G.I. Joe. Kids in the US were flipping through glossy Marvel comics or pulling pristine card art off the toy shelves, and we were getting our little fixes through a company called Golden Press. Now, Golden Press was part of the Western publishing family, and they're the same mob that brought you such pleasures as Golden Books. And here in Australia, they were everywhere. So if you're a kid in the 80s, chances are you had one of the sticker books, the coloring books, or these shitty, flimsy activity pads that just smelled like wax crowns and cheap ink. Now, they produced everything from He-Man to Care Bears, Transformers, and yes, G.I. Joe. Now, Golden Press wasn't Hasbro or Marvel. They didn't have access to the full archives of character turnarounds or high-resolution box art. Most of their illustrators were freelancers, working off whatever scraps of reference that they could find. And that was sometimes a comic panel, sometimes a toy catalog, and sometimes, it seems, just a memory of seeing Duke once on a toy box. So, but to be fair, they were operating on tight deadlines and tighter budgets. Their job was to churn out books for Kmart and Big W spinner racks, cheap, fast, and eye-catching enough to make each kid beg their mum to pick them up one while they were in the checkout line. Now, that's the context that these G.I. Joe sticker books came from. They were officially licensed, but they weren't really part of Hasbro's art pipeline. They were local, low cost, and meant to capture the flavor of the brand rather than the precision of the art. And that is something that will be clearly evident as we go through the art today. Now, that brings us to the interesting point here, okay? And that is the art. Because when you look at these drawings, you can tell immediately these drawings were not done by someone trained in figure drawing. They were likely a line artist. And that is someone that is skilled at tracing outlines, inking shapes, and keeping the composition clear. But not necessarily someone who studied human anatomy, perspective, or even how a body actually moves. And don't get me wrong, a line artist is great at precision. They can reproduce logos, vehicles, and mechanical forms beautifully. They understand how to keep edges clean and shapes consistent. And that's why a lot of commercial illustrators back then came from printing, signage, or technical drawing backgrounds. But when you ask that same artist to draw a person, especially an action hero in motion, things can start to wobble. Without an understanding of proportion, like how the head relates to the shoulders, or how arms taper from bicep to wrist, you end up with figures that look shit. Now, maybe the shoulders are too square, or the legs are too short, or a hand looks like a bunch of potatoes glued together. You're going to see a whole bunch of this today, and it just freaking amazed me. Now, I want to just state openly, and this is why I'm not looking at the artist today. It's not laziness. It's a different discipline. I am in no means saying that I would be a better artist. I have looked at some of the art that the other artist, or this artist, has done in his line drawings, and they're beautiful. But, you know, I just want to be clear, and as we go through the art today, note that drawing G.I. Joes or human beings was not this artist's strong point. A figure artist or character illustrator studies anatomy, and they know how muscles stretch and twist, how light falls on the skin, and how perspective exaggerates motion. Now, that's what made artists like Hector Garrido and Earl Norham legends in the G.I. Joe world. They didn't just draw the character, they understood them. They gave them weight, realism, and movement. And when a line artist takes on that same job without anatomical grounding, you get results like we see in the sticker books. Charming, full of effort, but just shit. And like someone trying to describe a face from a memory after one too many schooners. So let's crack in now and take a look at what I think is the worst G.I. Joe art ever released. Now, first up, we're going to look at the bats. Now, the art for this back in the day was really great. You've just got this battle android trooper running at you, flamethrower a go-go, and he's reaching back into his backpack to pick another accessory whilst he's on the run. The colors are great. I really love the chest, just with those few different colors that we don't actually see on the figure itself. You can clearly make out the grenades hanging from his chest, clearly make out Cobra symbol. You know, the detail on this is fantastic. And I think, you know, from this older artwork, it was really evident that the people drawing these pictures knew how a body would lean over and be moving towards you. You know, like I mentioned before, the anatomical movement, that's the important thing here. It's really often not about the lines, but about the movement. So yeah, the bat artwork was fantastic. Then we move on to this picture that has been drawn for the Golden Press book. The first thing that draws to my head is the Cobra symbol. Now, I would think if you're going to get something right when you're drawing Cobra characters, it's just having that Cobra symbol correct. I think we can openly say it is crap. Going from, you know, bottom to top, you know, looking at his boots, his left boot looks like a duckbill. And then we're moving up. I think this picture isn't actually, it's not one of the worst. And I think the artist was sort of, he was a bit lucky in drawing it this way, that he was drawing a robot. So there's a lot of lines in this, and not a lot. Well, there's no facial movement. He didn't have to draw a face on this thing, so I feel that he got away with this pretty easily. So the biggest baddie part of this picture is that Cobra symbol. Okay, next up, taking a look at Falcon. Now, this Falcon picture is just beautiful from back in the day. We sort of got the action scene of, Falcon sort of in this crouched position, ready to pounce. He's got his shotty ready to go. You can see he's looking over into the distance. He's ready to take action. It's a great shot. I'm quite happy with how it was done. And even to the point of just the scrim around the neck. And he's, you can see he's got his webbing on. Like, there's just so many things that are right with this picture. And because the bad picture is a double, we're also going to take a quick look at Beachhead. Now, this Beachhead original art, it's great as well. It's got Beachhead in this sort of action pose, firing off to his left. He's sort of in this weird hop jump pose, which is cool. It's probably almost like he's just, doing a bit of a run forward. His gat is blooding. Everything's cool. It's just drawn really well. And I think, it's what the G.I. Joe artists did really well back in the day, is they could cover these characters' faces and you could tell exactly what was happening just by the eyes. And that's such talent with the art. It's just beautiful. Now, we put that in comparison to this Golden Press art. I think going straight off Beachhead, the artist, once again, like the Bats, was lucky that he didn't have to draw faces. Faces just weren't his strong point. If he could get away with not drawing faces, I think he was probably quite relieved and well on his way to just trying to get the picture done. We look at how he's done the weapon in this, and it doesn't look too bad. You can see we've got the magazines on his chest. It's, when you're looking at these art pieces, you can almost see that he got given these original pieces of art and he just went off those. None of these pictures really deviate too strongly away from those original pictures. So yeah, Beachhead, like the Bat, not too bad. It's not the worst thing. But then we immediately look over and we see Falcon. And it's, you can tell a few things that he's just taken straight off that original art. We can see his little, push to talk on his right shoulder, the scrim around the neck, whatevs. But then we start seeing things like, check out his hands. His hands are contorted. It's like, they've gotten a Simpsons illustrator in to do this. And then you go from the hand, like his finger on the trigger is ridiculous. It's, unreal. And then you go up to the head, and then that's when you can see just how bad this artist was at drawing the human form. And I'll definitely follow it up with, I'm not an expert. So I'm just telling you that I don't like this art. Check out the face. And we actually see this kind of gritting mouth look a couple of times throughout these pictures. So you'll get used to it. But just sort of soak in how bad that face is. Okay, big boa. it's really example of human movement. He's just pretty much all muscles. And we can see that he's lunging forward, smacking the shit out of the Joe punching bag. It's not bad artwork. I think with Big Bo, we were almost just fascinated that it was just this boxer guy who was a PTI. So yeah, the artwork for it wasn't too bad. I think nothing to write home about, nothing too special. And then because this guy didn't have to draw a face, he just had to draw a helmet, this one didn't come out too bad. This was another one of probably the wins for him. And he managed to not stuff up sort of the arm structure too much. So yeah, this one wasn't too bad. Okay, Chuckles. Now, I actually think this is one of the original arts that was just so damn good that the face on the figure was a bit of a disappointment. The artwork for this was just terrific. We're seeing, that beautiful flowing blonde hair. You can see he's sort of pouncing forwards. His fist ready to smack some dude. And then he's got his gun at the ready. The holster is drawn beautiful. You can sort of even, up on the holster strap, you can see the stitching. Down to the machete or the knife on his leg, you can see the individual screws. Looks like you can even tell that there's wearing on the boots. This is how you do drawings. Just great. And then we go to this abomination. Now, from the bottom up, his shoes are just crap. The pants, you can't even tell they're pants. It's sort of just a little mess of lines. He's really given the knife on the leg a go. Going up, you can see the holster is meh. The gun is meh. His right arm, it looks like a sleeveless shirt. There's nothing really to define his arms. Now, take the moment, will you, and check out his left hand. He looks like a Ninja Turtle. He's literally got 3 fingers. Bro, what made you think that drawing a dude with 3 fingers was going to go well? You can see the artist has had a bit of fun with drawing Chuckle's shirt. You can see those massive flowers on there. And then you go up from there and you're like, holy crap, what's going on with that dude's mouth? It's like a rectangle. He's just got a rectangle for a mouth. The nose gets even worse. The eyes are just crap. Like, oh my God, this was really now hitting into the bad sections of the artwork. Okay, Coco with battle armor. This artwork is fantastic. It's really just got that domineering pose. He's standing over you, pointing at you, and you can see that menacing look in his eyes. Like, it's a really excellent combination of strong pose. He's got a weapon. He's pointing at you, and you can see his eyes. Dude is pissed. He is angry, and he's there to kick ass. We go to Old Mate's artwork, and once again, doesn't have to draw the face. So he hasn't done too badly with this. But it was really just that evidence of, nothing natural. It's all good. Nothing to see here. Except in this photo with the weapon. Like, dude looks like he's holding a banana. It is a small ass weapon. I don't know what his malfunction was with copying the weapons. He can clearly copy Coco to the point of actually doing a decent job on that outfit. But then that weapon, he just screwed the pooch just with that small detail. Crazy legs. In the original artwork, you can see he is parachuting down. He is doing his job. This guy is an assault trooper. He's coming down into the field of battle. You can see the look on his face. He's angry. He's going to kick ass. He's got his weapon on his chest. His legs are sort of stretched out into the pooping position. And he's ready to hit the ground and start fighting. With Old Mate's artwork, it is like, holy crap, bro. He has fascinatingly tried really well to get the uniform right. But then, you know, once again, we have, he's got 4 fingers on that hand, on his right hand. And then the other hand, like both hands are sort of in this, you know, debilitating stroke pose. Look at the gun on the chest, bro. That thing is basically a spud gun. And then the thing that cracks me up with this artwork, right, is he's clearly coming out the side of a plane. He's just got this look on his face like, did I just leave my mobile in there? And he's looking back. Like, what were you trying to achieve with that look, mate? There is nothing worry or anything about this picture. It's almost like he was just pushed out the side of the plane. Okay, Croc Master. Now, this artwork, I think, is just excellent. You just got this really strong dude handling this croc. He's got him by the mouth, and you know he's got the leash on him, and he's keeping the croc under control, right? Like you can see that Croc Master is in charge here. Now you could be sort of looking at things and saying, well, you can't see his legs that well, you know, those little details, but it doesn't matter because the thing to look at here is the fact that Croc Master is such a strong and powerful dude. He is keeping the croc under control, right? And now we flick to this picture of what could be right up there as being the worst artwork ever existing for G.I. Joe. And first starting, we got that what looks to be absolute crap crocodile. Like the back leg looks like it's coming out of his bum hole. There's no other legs. There's just 2 legs. Like this is a disabled crocodile. Just fantastically crap. And then we look to Croc Master himself. Dude has got, it looks like he's not even wearing pants, mate. It looks like he's just wearing boots. He's got no pants on. He's got his jock strap on. And then he's got his leather vest with some leather cuffs on. He's got his helmet with, you know, it looks like a gimp mask, right? With the tube coming out of it. And some kind of crappy go at a cobra symbol in his top right. So yeah, definitely a contender for what could be the worst artwork ever made for G.I. Joe. Okay, Crystal Ball. Now, to be fair, I don't think that the Golden Press artist had a great model to work off with the facial art for this in the first place. The rest of the picture is pretty damn good. And it's fantastic how they've used the hypnotic shield thing. Really like it. But yeah, you know, that face is what you would describe as kooky or zany or, you know, bit weird. And then we go to old mate's art, and holy crap. It fascinates me when you look at the chest, the lines on the chest and the cuffs. Really well done, actually. I don't think there's any way I could be drawing that freehand. But then you go to old mate's face, and holy shit, that moustache, the handlebar moustache, the way he's got his mouth open like that, like he's got no tongue, it's just a chasm inside there. Yeah, so bad. Nowhere near as bad as like Crocmaster, but yeah, pretty bloody bad. Check out his left hand. Those fingers are just going all over the shop, mate. He doesn't know what's happening. It's sort of like some weird thing. Like, put it in a fist or something, mate. I don't know why he has drawn him like that. Next up, we have the original art for Hawk. Now, this was beautiful as well. It's just having this guy in one of those original sort of World War II flying jackets with the beautiful furry bits up on the collar. He's got his battle goggles on top of his helmet. He's charging forward. He's telling everyone that way, go. You know, pretty good. I wouldn't say it's perfect. You can see on the left-hand side of his goggles, you know, it's a bit smaller. He's trying to create sort of distance. And there's no real strap holding that holster to his leg. So there is things that were wrong with the original art. But all in all, it's just great. Now, once again, this baddie picture has a double. And Hawk is featuring with dial tone. The original art for this is fantastic. Look at the level of detail. It's just stupid amounts of detail with this. Just great. Love it. Love it. And then we move on to the baddie art. And this is where things really go bad. Hawk, you know, the artist has tried to put him in that same pose of let's go that way. He's given him a gun in his holster and then given him another revolver. That face is really, this is how that guy drew faces during this period. Now you can sort of see, and he's done it here with dial tone as well as Hawk. He's sort of got this thing where he makes the legs a lot bigger than he does the rest of the body. And I believe like that's another distance thing. He's trying to show us that the legs are closer to us. But all he's made it look like is just crap. Look how big dial tone's head is compared to the rest of his body. It's, you know, it looks like he's just had his head shrunk. He's got these little grape-size water bomb grenades on his chest. I find it fascinating too that the artist doing this obviously had access to these original pieces of artwork. So he's tried copying things like the weapons and the backpacks as much as he can. But he was just not good at that. It was like he was really good with lines, but he just couldn't see that he was just creating whole new weapons that did not really even look like they were supposed to. So yeah, this is definitely evidence of crap art. Next up is Fast Draw. Now, this art from back in the day is beautiful. We're not going to go into the fact of having two missiles strapped to your arms and just blatting you, but the artwork is great. Really beautiful, lots of different colors. You know, the reds competing with the blues and the whites, and like it's totally Americanized, right? It is really nice art. And then we cross over to his art. And I can happily say this is probably the best picture in this group of pictures. He's actually managed to get the legs pretty right. And he's doing what he was trained to do, which is line art. So the backpack launcher isn't too bad. The helmet's great. Everything is fine. So yeah, he definitely had a win with Fast Draw. Okay, next up is V2 Gung Ho. So this is Gung Ho and his marine dress blues. Now the artwork on this, on the original piece, fantastic. Like the level of detail that this has gone down to. The moustache looks real. The badges look real. Like the Marine Corps badge on his cap looks beautiful. When you're looking at the medals on his chest, just amazing. You can see the individual detail of his dress buttons and down to the scabbard, the lines on the metal part of the scabbard at the bottom. Really just perfect. And he's in that, like, the artist of this was so good that he's just put him into this pose of like an attention pose. And, you know, me as a former military member, that's exactly what I expect to see someone in their dress blues. And then we flip to the first page of the sticker book where they showed Gung Ho and his marine dress blues. And we sort of follow up again on this thing of the lines. The line drawing it's okay. But when you look at his face, it is crap. It really becomes evident with a lot of these characters that, you know, if the more life that the artist had to show, the worse the picture was. And this was really the start of just bad illustrations. Okay, Iceberg. Now, the original art for this back in the day, I don't think it was that great in the first place. I think, from my perspective, the best part about this artwork is how well the artist actually did to draw like the sheepskin sort of look on the jacket. And the level of detail used with the weapon itself, the movement, so old mate's running forward, and you can see sort of the level of detail with the grenades and stuff on his chest. But I'm not really a fan of the figure or the artwork either way. But then we go to old mate's art and, you know, that face, holy crap, that got bad real quick. And then check out his right foot. What the shit is that? It's almost like he's got some type of peg leg stump, like pirate stump going on there. Yeah, like you can see what he was trying to achieve, sort of in that kneeling down position, sort of looking over there. But yeah, nose, mouth, absolute crap. And then his right foot, just wow. Okay, Jinx. So this is one of these great illustrations where you can sort of see the depth. She's got her left foot, like both legs are in crouching positions, as you'd expect from some kind of martial arts person. And then her left foot is forwards towards us. So you can sort of see the depth in this photo. But it all measures out well with size. You know, even her hands, they're just really well drawn. You can see that she's holding the weapon. And you can sort of see, you know, where the elbows and shoulders are. And, you know, the backpack, great. I reckon the backpack was actually more based on the toy itself. But yeah, just really nice artwork. Now, I didn't really notice until I saw this pile of crap that the original and this one make it look like Jinx has some kind of ice cream shit whip for a head. Both sort of have the curly bit going up to the top, like some dog crap. But yeah, this picture, oh my God. It's like she's in some type of dying position on the ground. And she's, I don't know, like she's got no fingers on her right hand. It's like she's wearing mittens or something. She's got no knee on her right leg. It's her entire right side is just devoid of detail. Now, the most interesting thing for me in this is the level of detail he's gone to do that dragon on the left side of her chest, and also the handles on her weapons. Just fascinating. Really, that dragon is top notch. Well done. But you look at her left foot and you're like, mate, how big is that leg compared to that foot? The foot looks like she's a size 2, mate. So, yeah. And her eyes, like, he didn't do too bad with some of these characters. I think his take on Coco, the eyes were pretty decent. These eyes, nah, just poop. Law and Order. I would have to say that this is one of the best artworks ever coming out of the G.I. Joe line in any form of media. Just excellent. Everything is beautifully detailed. And that dog, oh my God, just a real treasure, I would say. And then we go to this, which, you know, it's not the worst drawing that's sitting in these books. I think he dodged a bullet by not having to show us Law's face, because you can sort of see he was starting to struggle with that mouth. But all in all, not the worst. Now, a lot of these were double up, like double pages. So you'll get to see Order's face a bit further on. Yeah, like Crocmaster's Crocodile, Order was shit. So yeah, hang on for that one. Now, the other bad detail was Law's weapon. What the crap is that? He's supposed to have a little Uzi. That thing, it's not even a weapon, mate. Like it looks like some kind of Star Wars blaster or something. So yeah, this was one of the examples where old mate drawing these things clearly didn't really know anything about the military. He was just going straight in there. He had no reference material apart from these original pics, I reckon. Man, you look at the vehicles in the background and what the hell are they? It's like he's just gone, well, we should have some vehicles in the background. How do these look? And his mates looked over his shoulder and gone, they look like they're in the military. Now, also, where is the end of Law's left leg? It's supposed to pass on the other side of Order. Nothing there, mate. He's just missing the rest of his leg. So, yeah, fantastic job with that one. Okay, Leatherneck. Now, this is another one of these pictures that just had incredible amounts of detail back in the day and fantastically drawn. It's another one of these characters that were based on real staff that were working at Joe at the time. And just really well done. Like the level of detail in the weapon itself, his front vest, the knife, the grenades, the shoulder pads, and his arm insignia, and the face. Like, that is, it's Like, so well done, that face. And then we can sort of see he just went, nah, I'm not going to get anywhere near that being good. So I'm going to cover this guy's face like he's shooting a weapon. And I'm going to hide the rest of him behind some plants. So, yeah, there's Leatherneck. Like, holy crap. Like, that's the point where you just gave up on life. You drew the weapon. I reckon he would have drawn the weapon and then drawn Leatherneck around that weapon. Because the weapon there is one of the best things he's drawn in this entire bloody series of books. Okay, Lifeline. Another one of these ones from back in the day where the level of detail was just beautiful. Down to the point where you can actually see, you know, what's on his backpack, like the level of equipment and stuff like that. You can see he's got a little spectrograph or something on there, and just fantastic. Like, it's just very well done. The face was a bit meh, but, you know, it's not too bad at all. And then we hit this level of crap. Now, that dude laying on the floor, that genuinely looks like if you went into a classroom and asked all the kids to draw a guy laying on the ground dead. So bad. Look at the guy's face. It doesn't even have a complete nose. It's just a line that goes wonky at the end with a little bit of wonk on the other side. And eyes and the mouth. The mouth is sitting on the dude's chin. Look at his leg, his boots. So crap. Lifeline, not too bad, I suppose. Probably not the worst that we've seen in these books. His base isn't too bad, but once again, I think we're at that point where old mate was lucky. Lifeline's wearing a helmet. He's wearing glasses. He's got a little microphone coming down. So he didn't have to actually draw too much on the face. Yeah. So not the worst, but still pretty crap. I'd like to just take this opportunity to let you know that if you're enjoying the content so far, please take a look at my channel membership. For a few bucks a month, you'll get extra content per week. And it's a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really do that much on my main channel, mail calls, openings, reviews, stuff like that. And I really just hone that away for my channel members specifically. So yeah, get in there and check it out. Okay, Lowlight. I don't think I need to talk too much about this guy. This is one of my favorite characters of all time. And the artwork was, I think, what actually put me onto G.I. Joe in the first place. Such just beautiful example of precision art. Everything's spot on. Little bit of color there, mixing in with that black and gray outfit. The weapon is drawn beautifully. Just everything to me is perfect. And then we come on to Old Mate's picture, which, like I mentioned, a lot of these were doubling up with other characters. This was doubling up with Crystal Ball. So Lowlight, for some reason, instead of drawing him in the wilderness, you know, sniper's position or something like that, he's got him tied to a chair getting harassed by Crystal Ball. Now, there's a few things that I don't know what's happening here. As I've stated before, this guy knew what he was doing with things that were not organic. So if you look at the job he's done with the padding on the right shoulder, which is the sniper padding, and then pouches and grenades and stuff like that. Beautiful. Like, this is actually really well done. When you look at how the body is drawn, you can't actually tell that he's got any waist at all. If that belt wasn't there, you would not know what part of the body that was. So yeah, really bad there. And then you go up to his face, and this guy just really had no experience with drawing faces, you can tell. Those lips look, a bit like female Jenny's. The ear on his right-hand side, if that wasn't put there in that spot, you wouldn't be able to tell that's an ear. Yeah, just like this is one of the more conflicting pieces of art that this guy did, because that detail on his chest is actually quite nice. And then you go to the organic parts of low light and it's just crap. Mainframe. So I'm not a massive mainframe fan, but the artwork, the original artwork, you can't sort of deny that it was great. He's in an action pose. He's on the battlefield. He's using the computer whilst making a call. The face drawn on mainframe is excellent. All in all, just really great example of perfect art. And then we go to this dog turd, which, the thing that draws me straight away is the face. And you're like, what are you looking at on that screen, mate? It's like he's just opened an email and someone sent him nude photos of Whoopi Goldberg or something. Or, he got the same look on his face when somebody told me to check out a website called mustardsnack.com. And I was like, duh. Just terrible. I don't know what he was trying to achieve with that look on his face. He has just seen something that he will never unsee. Okay, Mindbender. Original art, character I don't like, or I don't think much of. The artwork, though, was really well done. Great use of color and shadows, and the intent look on his face. He is, moving to, sort you out somehow. But yeah, it looks really good. And, of particular note, you can see those sort of dimple lines in his forehead. Just looks really good. And then we go to this pile of crap, which, this was shared with Jinx. And, bro, check out his right hand. I was wondering about another character having Ninja Turtle hands because they had 3 fingers. He's only got 2. It's not even a thumb and a finger. It's just 2 fingers that look exactly the same, just in pincer action. Unreal. And then you look at, once again, the cobra symbols on the cape pins. Jeebus, mate. What is going on there? You just did not care. And where are they pinning to exactly? Like his armpit or something? They're just sort of knotted on to some underarm hair or something. And the look on this guy's face, he looks a bit like Cheech Marion, who's just seen something on the ground that he wants. Yeah, just fascinating. When you also look at his legs, you've really got to study this thing and see, his foot is sort of behind his right knee. But then, his entire body frame. I think this artist just really made life difficult for themselves making this picture. It's a super bad example of a piece of art. Monkey Wrench. This original art was not too bad. There's a lot of depth in the picture itself, with the trident fork sort of right up close to you. And you can see in the size values, just how big everything is. And the look on his face, whilst not anywhere as detailed as some of the other pictures, not too bad at all. It's fine. It's definitely not one of my favorite pieces of art. And then I reckon this could come out as being one of the better pieces of art that this guy did. The look on the face isn't horrible. How he's proportionate to the motorcycle and what's happening in the picture, sure. It's not the train wreck that most of the other pictures are. Okay, Outback. This is one of the more stoic and detailed pictures that exist in G.I. Joe media. The amount of detail that's gone into that Alice pack that he's holding, his rifle that he's holding, and the torch on the side, like, it's just really great levels of detail. The way that the face is drawn is a bit feminine, but sure, it's pretty good. Pretty good. And then we go to this dog turd effort, which, you know, look at the hands. Those hands are phenomenally crap. From his knuckle, the two knuckles, like from there to there, on his hands, are the length of that. It's amazing. Amazingly crap. So yeah, I think, you know, like, it's pictures like this that sort of made me back my statement earlier of these things were just meant to be pushed out quickly, and not a lot of quality control occurred. And if it did, it was done by people who either didn't know art and B, didn't give a flying crap about G.I. Joe and its properties. Psych Out. I would put this in the realms of chuckles. The art was so good that the face molds on the figure themselves were a letdown because of how good the artwork was. Just really great artwork. The figure itself with its accessories I thought was absolute crap. But this artwork is something special. And then we go to this effort, which is just amazingly bad. The boots, like the size of his legs, like everything's out of proportion. Like his legs are out of proportion with his main torso. And check out how small his head is compared to his torso. Like, he's got no shoulders whatsoever. Yeah, phenomenal. And once again, check out his hands. Check out that his right hand. Like, wow. Just, yeah, just wow. Okay, Raptor. Really good artwork. And I think this would have been one of the more difficult ones to draw because the order would have come through of draw me a guy that dresses like a bird and he's a falconer and we need to make him look a bit wary and a bit dangerous. And this is what we got. And I'm not adverse to this. It is kooky as shit. Like the fact that he's got talons on his boots. Yeah. So original artwork, pretty good. I'm suitably impressed. And then we go to this. And just before we start on Raptor, I do want to say that is the front end of Order. And you can see what I mean when I said that it was as bad as Crocmaster's Crocodile. Absolute crap. Raptor's bird, not too bad. And I have seen that this guy that did this artwork, he's done nature stuff before, so I would be reasonably confident that he could do a bird. But for some reason, dogs and crocodiles, nah, get out of here, mate. Raptor himself, I don't know what kind of quality this guy has in life when he thought he could draw this and walk away with Raptor's face looking like that. It's not even human. It's what you'd kind of draw. Yeah, like if you're trying to teach the people paying you for not paying you enough, you'd just be like, oh, well, here's what you get for paying me this amount. Because that is crap. And we look at his shawl, like his wing type thing, and doesn't even it's supposed to be over his shoulders. He's just wearing it like some kind of toga outfit. And I think the worst thing of all with this picture of Raptor is dude has a vagina. So if you have a look, there is camel toe staring right at you. Yeah. Unreal. I mean, I'm definitely not saying put some bulge in there or something, but don't give me a freaking camel toe when you're drawing a dude. That's probably step number one for drawing a dude, is don't put a camel toe there. Next up is Roadblock. Artwork, original artwork for this, I think wasn't anything too fantastic in the first place. There was a lot of detail in it, but as for the face art, nothing real special here, considering what we've seen with some of the other pieces of art. So yeah, nothing too special, but still really good, right? And then we go to this guy, and I would say, apart from, once again, the hands, everything else isn't too bad. But the problem for me, right, is a lot of the way that these things are drawn, like you could have seriously gone to anyone in a high school and said, draw these for me. And this is what you get. Check out his hands, especially his left hand holding up the weapon. It looks like he's got one of those werewolf dress-up hands, like he's wearing that like a glove or something. It's ridiculous. And then his other hand, he has some like 12-year-old Dutch girl wrists that then go to these werewolf hands. Like, wow. Proportion, bro. Now, with sci-fi, I could never relate to this character as a kid. First off, he just had this bright green suit that to me didn't really sort of yell military. It was just, I don't know, it was a bit crap in the first place. I know a lot of people love sci-fi, and that's cool. I'm not saying he's bad. But this artwork was just a bit sort of hard to relate to as a kid. Going to this guy's efforts, it's not actually too bad. This is one of his better drawings. And when I say one of his better drawings, I mean better that he did. All of these pieces of art are crap. I'm happy enough to say that it's crap. It's, you know, this isn't a year 10 coloring competition or drawing competition. This is an actual product that mothers and fathers were buying for their kids. And probably the most exciting thing was just the fact that you were getting the stickers, I'm going to guess. Because, yeah, the artwork is so bad. Okay, so we all know the link of Sneak Peek, right? So, but it's always amazed me just how good the artwork on this original face was. It was just super well done. Not a great face, not and by no means a worry face, but you know, how well this face was drawn is to this day really amazing. Lots of detail. Shit figure, but lots of detail. And then we go to this, and I don't know what's worst first up. Like, his legs are horrific. The weapon is the worst thing, probably the worst drawn weapon out of the entire 2 books. That thing is just like it's been molded from clay or something. And then it looks like he's wearing some type of Lady Gaga paddle pop dress or something. Very, very weird. And then the expression that I'm getting from his face is, man, I've got to take a crap. So, yeah, he's getting a bit of sneak peek, a bit of brown sneak peek going on. This is just another one of the baddie pieces of art. Okay, Techno Viper. We're going to talk this one up as another one of the really good pieces of art coming back from the original media for the card backs. Really well done. Yeah, just great. Really great use of colors and detail. The stance is excellent. Just, you know, a really nice piece. And then, you know, this is another one of his pieces that isn't his worst. But, you know, what fascinates me, right, is this guy could draw that tiny dragon on Jinx's right chest and it come out beautiful. But in every one of these Cobra characters, the Cobra symbol is just shit. Check that out. It's not even in the center of his uniform. It's sitting off to the right. And then look at his boot. He's got some bloody cowboy bebop bloody boot on his right leg. And then his left leg, nah, it's all good, bro. Whatever, I've just put a sock on. And then apparently he's got some weapon in a holster on his left leg, but it almost looks like a corkscrew. There's just so little detail. It's fascinating how bad aspects of these pictures got to. I mean, look at the Cobra symbol up the top. I can sort of understand that, you know, you had trouble drawing a Cobra symbol on angles. But up the top of the picture, it's just flat out bad. So bad. Tunnel Rat. Now, we all know this was based off Larry Hama, so they had some reference material to draw the original art from. And it's really good. You know, we're always going to have that thing of why was old mate carrying, you know, an M60 or something down into some tunnels. Kind of hard to move around, and kind of hard to move around with a big backpack with torches on it, but whatever. You know, I think we've talked about that enough for the moment. The artwork, really detailed, really good. And then we go to this guy. Once again, you know, it's that thing that we can see that he's obviously been just looking at the pictures available to him, which is these pictures, because he's just made that weapon up. He's just like, just give it a go, whatevs. And then look at his legs, mate. Look where his knees are in relation to the bottom of his feet and then to his waist. Phenomenal. This guy must have something like Forrest Gump rickets or something like that. There is something very wrong with Tunnel Rat with his legs. Too many crawling through tunnels, maybe. But yeah, so bad. Once again. Cobra Viper. Really nice artwork. I think the thing that gets me is the beautiful use of colors. just that real beautiful crimson red. And then, you know, the faceless shield on his head. And then the way that the weapon's drawn, just really nice. Everything's great. Everything's detailed. Really nice levels. Look, I feel myself saying this more often than not. This is one of his better versions, but in the end, still so crap. This was probably one of the easier ones for him to draw because no face and a whole bunch of lines. I would say at least he got the body proportion correct and the stance sort of correct. So yeah, there's your Viper, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Wetsuit. Really happy to see that Wetsuit's been released recently for the Classified series. I went and picked one up the other day, so I've been looking forward to opening that one up. Now, in terms of the original art, really good. This is one of these more weirder stances. You can see sort of, you know, coming from up to down towards us. Looks really good. Really good use of detail and colors. It's always been the thing with Wetsuit. I've never really understood, like, he's a SEAL, but he's just using these, what looks to be like a commercial wetsuit type thing. So I've never really understood that, but whatever. Like, the colors have always been fantastic with Wetsuit. And then we go to this effort where the artist, it looks like he's just given up on life. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to draw half of him. I'm going to give him effectively a stick in his hand. And I'm just going to draw his backpack and his helmet. You don't need to see his face. We're all good here. So yeah, just literally giving up on life and just whatever, bro. Okay, as we start to draw down on this list, we hit Xandar. Now, I've always not really liked this character at all anyway. But I've always appreciated the really nice use of colors with the character. And, you know, level of detail with the weapon and his armor and stuff. It was always nice, but yeah, I never really sort of liked the character that much. And then we hit this abomination. That face. Oh my God. I can't tell, you know, after old mate drew Wetsuit and he's gone to do Xandar and he's already given up on life with Wetsuit. And this is what happens when you give up on life. This is what your next drawing looks like. That face is horrible. Look at the teeth, mate. It's just like, I can't even do the face aspect on it. It's not a real human thing. And I sort of feel like he's drawn this character from the ground up, because you can sort of see, you know, the boots. He's put the effort into the boots and the legs and stuff like that. And then by the time he's gotten to the head, he's like, meh, whatever. Just draw something. Okay, lastly, we've got Zorana. Now, the artwork for her back in the day was reasonably amazing. I'm going to say that, you know, the face on her was a little bit almost inhuman. It's almost a bit alien-esque. The level of detail with her body, the way her arms were drawn in poses, same as her legs, like very, very well done. And that sort of adds to that thing for me of the way that the face was drawn, which is so unique. Just very pretty, very confused. Yeah, just, it is very well done. And then there's this. Like, the boots are horrible. It looks like she's got some type of leg back flaps going on with a skin, like a bit of loose skin going on. Once again, the cobra symbol on what I think is meant to be a cobra ferret. Instead, it's got wheels like a bloody Flintstones vehicle. Just so bad. I can't believe how bad some of these pictures are. And it's, yeah, I know as kids we don't really care about the level of art, but it's pretty funny to look back and think these are the things that our parents were buying us. Guys, if you've reached this part of the video, thank you so much for sticking through. What an epic list of what I would deem the worst art ever made in the history of G.I. Joe. I, in my time, have never seen anything worse than that art. But let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what you think the best and the worst were. And also, let me know if you've seen worse art than that. Now, I'm not talking about just someone giving a go. These were items that were sold in shops. So that's what's sort of getting to me, is this art was meant to be professional enough that it could be a sold product. And I just don't think that it ever reached that point. It was just crap. But, you know, in some ways it's great, because it's one of those oddities that came out of the G.I. Joe media base that just showed us, you know, not everything apparently had to be perfect in the day. There were some points where, you know, something was okay. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, if you haven't checked out my channel membership, go check it out. Give it a go for a month. It's a couple of bucks. It's literally a coffee, a small coffee's worth for an extra month of so much more content. And yeah, if you've enjoyed the video today, hit the like button. If you're not subbed, sub to the channel. And guys, until the next video, stay frosty. Bye-bye.